Hey guys, how's it going? So for today I'll be doing a foundation and concealer declutter. Just in case this is your first time watching one of these declutters, the products that I'm sharing with you today are just the ones that are in my collection. Anything that is new is basically in my everyday makeup drawer, and then anything that's in my project pan is separate from this as well. So like I said, this is just strictly what's in my collection currently. So if you like declutters, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you're new here, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. So let's just jump into the foundations here. I had a lot more than I thought I did, so that's always interesting. But the first thing here, this is a Neutrogena skin clearing complexion perfector. This is in the shade light to medium. I'm going to go ahead and keep this because it's almost empty, so I might as well just use it up. This is the L'Oreal True Match foundation in the shade Classic Ivory. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. This is a nice foundation. It's just a simple foundation. And it's in a good shade for me, especially for the winter, so I'll definitely just keep this. This is by Beauty Blender. Let's see if the name of this, oh yeah, this is the Bounce Foundation. So this was actually a nice foundation. It didn't get a whole lot of hype or anything from YouTube, but it's actually not bad. I mean, it's pretty good. I have it in the shade 1.10, so I'll definitely be keeping this. Then I have the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation, the dewy version. I really love the dewy version. I feel like if you have dry skin, you'll also appreciate the dewy version. This is a really great foundation, especially for the drugstore and for dry skin. This would probably be one of my top 5 drugstore foundations for dry skin. It's really great. So let's see. This is in a super light shade and Porcelain. So if they have this in a deeper shade, I might pick it up for the summertime, but I feel like they probably do not. So that'll probably suck. But either way, it's a really great foundation. Then I have the Burt's Bees Goodness Glows foundation. I have seen people rave about this. I have this in the shade Porcelain. For some reason, I just don't care for this foundation. I don't know what it is, but I guess it's supposed to be like a glowy foundation, good for dry skin and such. But I just feel like it's too matte for me or something. I don't know. I've never liked this. Anytime I've used it, I just was not thrilled with the outcome of how it looks on my skin. So this one I'll go ahead and get rid of. Then I have this LA Colors liquid makeup. I'm getting rid of this. This is in the shade Cocoa, and it's like super too deep for me. I was mixing it in with, you know what, I forgot a foundation. Hold on. So I was mixing it in with a foundation that's a lot lighter because this one's deeper and it's like liquid. The formula on this isn't bad, but the color is just way too deep. So I was mixing that with the Anastasia stick foundation in the shade Porcelain. So it's super light. But the problem with this foundation is it's super dry and thick, and it just feels terrible on my skin. So they kind of balance each other out, but overall I just don't like either one. This one just doesn't work for me because of the shade. But this one I just do not like, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of both of these. And then this is the Juvia's Place foundation, the I Am Magic foundation. It's a velvety matte finish. This is in the shade, it also says it's full coverage, the shade Bali. This is actually a nice foundation. Even though it's like a matte foundation, I guess because it's velvety, so it's like a satin finish. I really like it. It's a good mix between like a liquidy dewy foundation and a solid straight matte foundation. And it's full coverage, so it provides really great coverage. I do agree with that. I just haven't seen a whole lot of people talk about this on YouTube, but if you like Juvia's Place products and you just haven't tried this foundation yet, I would definitely look into it. It's really great. Then I have the LA Girl Pro Coverage HD Foundation in the shade Porcelain. And I have like no beef with this. Like this I don't think is like horrible, but I don't think it's great. It's just a foundation that provides enough, at least enough coverage to, you know, try to even out your skin and cover up any like problematic areas that you may have. So I'll keep it, but it's nothing to write home about. And then I also have this. I don't think they make this anymore, but this was so good. I really loved it. It's the Tarte BB Tinted Treatment Primer. So they labeled it as a primer because it's very silicone based, but it is tinted, and I like to use this and then put another foundation with it, and it would just make any foundation that you use this with flawless. So flawless, so good, but I don't know that they have this anymore. If they do, I would buy this in a full size because this was like, it blew my mind when I first used it. This is almost empty though, so I'm going to keep it and use it up. And then I have the Physicians Formula, the Healthy Foundation. And I have this in the shade, I don't know what shade, LW2. So, brightening complex for all skin types. So this is another good foundation from the drugstore for dry skin, I feel like. Because it's not overly dewy, but it's not matte either. It's like, basically, in my opinion, kind of like a satin formula. So it goes well with dry skin, but can kind of also give you like that more matte appearance if that's what you're looking for. And I think that's why a lot of people like it, to be honest. Also, this foundation in particular has a pretty good shade range, especially for the drugstore. So more people are likely to find a shade that works for them. So that's always a plus too. And then I have the MAC Next to Nothing Face Color in the shade Light. I go back and forth with this. Like, I know it's basically a light coverage skin tint type of product, but I almost feel like it's literally the lightest coverage, like skin tint type of product that I own. So if you put this on top, like if you're wanting like a really dewy look and you put this on top of a dewy primer, this will be amazing because it's not going to cover up that dewy primer, that dewiness from the primer at all. It's just going to just kind of give your skin a little bit of color to give it a little bit more life, and that's literally about it. So I really only like this if I'm doing like a dewy look and I use a nice dewy primer. And that's about it. So I'm going to keep it and use it up, but I probably would not repurchase this though. Alright, and so this one is, I feel like this is the e.l.f. version of the Wet n Wild foundation, to be honest. And this is the e.l.f. Flawless Finish foundation. Have this in the shade Light Ivory. Again, this is an amazing foundation from the drugstore. I would definitely put this in my top 5 also. The only thing with this is I feel like I go through it so quickly. I don't even know what bottle, like number bottle this is for me on buying this foundation, but it is so dang good. So dang good. And like if you look, they do undertones very well with this foundation, I feel like. So they have more yellow and more neutral undertones with this, which I can appreciate because most drugstore foundations do, like, all of their foundations have, like, cool undertones to them, and that does not work with me because I have, like, neutral to warm undertones, and so most drugstore foundations, unless I get the lightest shade ever, are going to look orange on me because they're all cool tone. So that's why, like, most of my foundations are, like, the Porcelain shade, and because when I put that on my skin, I just look super white with that. Because if anything else with any kind of color, it's usually a cool undertone and will just look orange. So we don't want that. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect foundation and concealer in the shade Porcelain. I've seen a ton of people rave about this on YouTube, but I feel like the people who will really like it the best and can appreciate it the most is going to be people with oily skin. Because where this is like foundation and concealer, it's definitely a heavy duty full coverage product. And if you have dry skin, it can look cakey and like, I don't know, like creasy, cakey, all that stuff real quick, real easy. But other than that, I mean, if you got stuff to cover up, this will definitely do it. So I would recommend this for people who have oily skin. Dry skin may not like it so much, but otherwise it's a good foundation. So I'm just going to keep it and use it up. And then this was a surprise to me. This is the Aoa Buildable Satin Foundation. Have this in the shade Fair Ivory. This was a shock to me. I bought this from the Shop Miss A website where everything's basically $1. And so I wasn't expecting much, especially for base products, you know, $1. And it's not satin like it claims. To me, it's more matte. But holy mackerel, does this have great coverage on it. And it's got them yellow warm tones in there, as you can see too. So I like this, and I would recommend it, and I would buy it again. It's just that it is a little more matte than what I would prefer, but I can always work with a matte foundation. But just sometimes, they're just too much. You know what I mean? But this is alright. I would recommend it. Then this. I would get rid of this because I don't like it. But I've used it up almost all the way. So I'm just going to keep it anyway and finish it. This is the Revlon Candid Glow, like basically skin tint situation. In the shade 120 Buff. So I don't care for this one. I actually like this one better. Surprise. So this one is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk. Sorry, I am like nasally and congested, so everything's going to sound real funny. I know a lot of people do not like this, but for me, for whatever reason, I really enjoyed it. I really liked this. This is also almost gone, so I'll probably just go ahead and finish it up. And honestly, I would recommend it, but I know that CoverGirl's going through a new rebranding phase, so I don't know what they're keeping, what they're doing away with again. But this was, you know, something that I actually liked from CoverGirl, and in general, CoverGirl is like not my favorite. Alright, so 4 more, and then we'll move on into concealers. So this is the Maybelline Dream BB Pure Beauty Balm. I think this is something that's been discontinued. This is 100 Light, a sheer tint. And it has salicylic acid in it. This was good. I don't know why they ever, I think they discontinued this. I don't know why they did that. This was good. I'm going to try to use it up. Let's see where I'm at. Yeah, because I'm almost, yeah, there's probably, yeah, I'm right here, dog. Right there. So, yeah, I should just keep this and finish it. Then this is a newer product for me. This is the Essence Pretty Natural Hydrating Foundation in the shade Neutral Vanilla. This was also a shocker to me. This was a lot better than I expected it to be. It's very much a natural finish. So it's light coverage, but it adds just enough color to even out your skin and everything like that. And it's not overly matte and it's not overly dewy. It just looks like your skin when you put it on. It's great. So if that's what you're into for the summer, I know when it's like hot and you're super sweaty and stuff, that's what we look for. So I would look into this for a summer foundation option. And then I have 2 of these. This is the Rimmel Stay Matte Foundation. This is probably my favorite matte foundation. Even though I don't like matte foundations, I still like this one because it's like moussey and lightweight, and it gives me more control of how much I can apply, I guess. I don't know. For some reason, I just like it, and I just wish that this was like in a satin dewy finish, not matte. I swear. If they had this in like a satin dewy finish, it'd probably be like my favorite drugstore foundation ever. But I have it in the shade Light Porcelain and then also Soft Beige. So this is more like my winter shade and this is more like my summer shade kind of situation. So this is good. So I'm keeping those. So I didn't get rid of too many foundations, which is not a surprise to me because I don't like buying foundations. So I'll keep what I have and use it because I just don't like buying foundations, if that makes sense. So give me a moment, I'll bring up my concealers and we'll go over those two. Alright guys, here are the concealers. Are we ready to jump in? I'm going to have to go through these super fast because my battery's about to die any second. So this first one here is an e.l.f. concealer. This is the Cover Everything concealer in a yellow shade. I'm going to get rid of this. It's super thick, heavy, and it's nice for color correcting, but it's just too thick and heavy and creates a lot of creasing. This is the NYX Gotcha Covered waterproof concealer. This is a thicker concealer as well, but it works really nice, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that. And then this is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I like this one better than the original, so I'm keeping this. Alright, so funny enough, my camera did die, so I didn't get finished yet. So here we go. This is the LA Colors, the Conceal It, Cover, and Correct Concealer in the shade Beige. I don't really remember this. I'm going to say it's probably a little dark for me, possibly. Well, at least in the winter time. But it's a full concealer. And again, concealers are just something that I don't care to buy often. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it just to use that up. Then this is the Aoa Liquid Concealer in the shade Light Ivory. This is actually pretty good as well. It's not my favorite thing ever, but it'll do. You know, I may not even get rid of any of these concealers. So yeah, this may not be the most fun part, but it's real, you know what I mean? So this is the Ulta Beauty Full Coverage Liquid Concealer. It's waterproof in the shade Fair Neutral. This is also a pretty decent concealer. I did use quite a bit of it. I may not repurchase it, but you know, it's not horrible, so I'm gonna keep this. Like I said, when it's things that like I don't really like to buy, I'm just gonna keep what I have basically and use that because that way I have what I need to do my makeup at all times. Like, you know what I mean? This is the Revlon. Looks like a color stay concealer in the shade possibly Light. I used quite a bit of this up. I don't really care for this. This wasn't my favorite. I definitely prefer like the Maybelline Fit Me's over this. I thought I would like this better than I did, but I just didn't. So, but again, I'm going to keep it and use it up. This is the MAC 24 Hour Studio Fix Smooth Wear Concealer. So to make up for the fact that like I'm probably not going to get rid of any of these, I guess I can just swatch a few. This one's actually pretty nice. This is a light coverage concealer. And so it's nice and creamy, thin, but it does give you coverage. You know what I mean? Which is what I like with dry skin plus already crinkly eyelids or eye area. So I like that. It sets down really nice too. So that's a pretty good concealer. And then this one is also almost gone. This is the CoverGirl True Blend It's Lit Concealer. This came as a shock to me that I liked it as much as I did because like I said, I'm not a big fan of CoverGirl in general. But also the applicator, I don't care for it. It's like a twist up, but like with this paintbrush tip. Again though, like with true to CoverGirl, all of their undertones are cool. So as you can see, that's kind of orange right there. Possibly. Maybe you can see that. But that's kind of orange. That's one of the big reasons why I do not like CoverGirl. Because all of their products have a cool undertone and that just does not work for me. I don't know why my hands look so thin and veiny right now. That's kind of gross looking, isn't it? Maybe it's because I'm under the weather. I don't know. But I'm keeping this. I did use it quite a bit. I can manipulate the shade though with foundation. So the formula on it though is really good. I like the formula, but their colors are off, man, for me. This is the Revelation Conceal and Define Concealer. I think this was also supposed to be a dupe of the Tarte Shape Tape, which I have the Tarte Shape Tape somewhere. It's just not apparently sitting in my collection at the current moment. This is not bad either. especially like as a dupe for the Tarte. It's not bad, but again, you can see the pink tones in that, so I just use it really lightly. I don't feel like it's as full coverage as the Tarte or as the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I feel like this has a lot lighter of a coverage and it's thinner. So, but yeah, look how pink that is. It doesn't look pink on the viewfinder or anything because I'm looking at it right now and it doesn't look pink. It looks like it's similar to this right here. But when I look at it in person, it's very much pink. So you can see it like there. And see how orange that one is? Good Lord. And then this is the NYX Born to Glow concealer and the Radiant Concealer in the shade. Alabaster. I bought this because I was hoping it would be like, I don't know, like a lighter, dewier concealer like what I like. It's fine, but it's not anything to write home about. It's also got the sponge tip applicator like the Maybelline one, but ultimately I would prefer the Maybelline over that, for sure. It's also kind of thick, but it has a nice radiant finish to it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like right here. Yeah, you can see that. It's like right there. And it conceals pretty good too. It's just not in the same league as the Maybelline concealer. And it's not this one. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I'm talking about the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind or whatever. This one is the Maybelline Fit Me. I do have two of these. The other one is in my project pan right now. But this one is in the shade Sand Sable. So this one is a deeper shade, which is usually what I use for the summer, but I just put the other one in my project pan, so I'll be using that one. As you can see, this is also a little deep for me right now, and so it looks just a touch orange. So, but in the midst of summer, and I use that, it looks totally fine. So, I'll be using this one up as well. Okay, so that portion was basically like a concealer collection because I didn't get rid of any of these. But, I mean, you need to have concealer, and if I don't have that many, and if I declutter them just for the sake of a video or something, then I'm going to need to buy more, and just, we ain't doing that today. So anyway, I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. If there's any other like product categories that you want to see me try to declutter, then go ahead and let me know in the comments. And if there's any other type of videos that you want to see, also leave that in the comments. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye!